Good morning, class. My name is Keifer Klabenes, and I will be presenting about civil engineering today. Um, Civil engineering is very special to me because I actually work for the Nebraska Department of Transportation on my hat and on the calendar behind me, as you can see. So I actively right now work as a DOT inspector, and I plan to pursue a career in civil engineering with the DOT when I actually obtain my degree. But it's very special to me because I really do love the day-to-day basis of civil engineering. It's very interesting, and a lot of people really don't understand the concept of it. So let's dig in. A day in the life of a civil engineer. The pictures above, I will actually detail them in a little bit. They're all my pictures. I work up here in Valentine, Nebraska, and we are currently remodeling the whole main street. So it's a full remodel of down to the sanitary sewer and water services. So on the left here is a picture of Kirk Barnes. He's a local contractor, and he's removing the Valentine Main Street. It was almost 50 to 80 years old in some areas. Behind that, many of you may recognize, let me grab this pointer here. Behind this, many of you may recognize the Security First Bank. It has a very iconic mural of cowboy chasing bulls, and it's carved into the bricks of the bank. So if any of you have been up here and kind of, walked around, you might recognize that. But picture number 2 and picture number 3 here both include Midlands Contracting constructing water drainage for the storm sewer. This actually was taken on 3rd Street, but it's the same process throughout the project. These guys order these concrete pipes, which are manufactured in precast facilities, and they actually build the manhole and curb inlet boxes. So that's kind of on them. But as a DOT employee, it's very similar to being a construction engineer. Obviously, a little less responsibilities. But a day-to-day basis is very similar with the design, supervision, and maintenance of infrastructure projects. You can choose to either go into the public or private sector. Um, so the picture, this last picture over here, number 4, is actually another crew with Midlands Contracting. In this specific picture, this supervisor's name is Phil up here. This green pipe right here actually was the sanitary sewer main that they laid. So at the time I'm recording this, we are about a year ahead of schedule. So they have completely finished the utility portion. This project was planned to be done in summer of 2023, and we are on track to be done this year in November of 2022. So hopefully we stay on track. Obviously the public likes it if we can get done early rather than late, as do all of us. So that's kind of a day in life, or day in the life, excuse me, of an engineer. There's a lot of safety, integrity, and teamwork of this job. Public inspection and integration is very popular. I mean, you have to be kind of a people person, if I'm being honest with you, as a DOT inspector and as an engineer, with your communication skills, because you have to definitely be able to explain it to people who have never been around this. So that's kind of a day in the life. So this next slide is pay, happiness, and workforce. It's kind of the question we all ask ourselves: is it worth it? This chart specifically, I have the numbers on the next slide, but within this recording view, if I go to the next slide, it will not let me back up, so I can't really hop back and forth. So I will definitely pause this video and let you guys kind of compare the values. But the pay scale is in tens of thousands of dollars. This happiness right here is by 1 point, and the workforce is, let me turn this camera off, is by the 100,000 people. So the pay scale here, I chose 3 random categories of engineering. Green is mechanical engineer, blue is civil engineer, and pink is petroleum engineer. So the pay scale, tens of thousands of dollars. this mechanical engineer on average makes around $72,000. Compared to this civil engineer, we're about at $90,000, and a petroleum engineer down here in pink makes around $115,000. So civil engineering is definitely not the bottom, but it's also definitely not the top. So we will definitely see why petroleum engineering pays so well as we progress further in this graph. But for now, let's move on to the happiness field. Mechanical engineers actually sit around the highest of any engineers at a 3.8. So they definitely must love their jobs, which is out of 5. So, right here, give or take. And civil engineer is actually 1 point lower at 2.8. So again, kind of middle of the spectrum. But a petroleum engineer, for as much as they're paid, they only rank around 3.1 out of 5. So again, very, very minimal above the civil engineer compared to their pay, which is around a quarter more than civil engineers. So I will move my face out of the way for this. But this workforce down here, again, mechanical, civil, and petroleum engineer, this is done by the hundreds of thousands of workers in the United States. So the mechanical engineer actually has around 280,000 registered engineers, and compared to a civil engineer, that's around 310,000, so not much variance within the United States on that. But if we head back to the pay scale, in which I told you we'd kind of return upon, the petroleum engineer obviously makes around 30 to 40,000 more than a civil engineer, but the actual amount of petroleum engineers is far lower. As you can see, I just had said the civil engineers rank around 310,000 in North America, and the petroleum engineer count is around 22,000. So between these two fields, you have almost 600,000 people compared to 22,000. So obviously the wage varies a little with the demand on it. So this chart right here actually gives you the competitive numbers. So mechanical engineer, as I said, civil, they're around $20,000 off each, give or take, some more, some less. Happiness is around the 3.8, 2.8, 3.1, and the workforce size, as I had said earlier. So this is kind of a good joke that I have. Obviously, as a state employee, we get pretty good jokes about leaning on a shovel. I kind of have an imprint on my vest from it, so that's what I tell people. But the civil engineer public definition is someone who solves a problem you didn't know you had in a way you do not understand. So when these guys, kind of insult you, you got to take it as a joke. It's a job, and you can't take it home. So this picture on the right is a finished block. This is actually from 3rd to 4th Street in Valentine. If any of you have been here, this is the courthouse on the west side of the street. So it's coming along. There's sidewalks in these places now. So this was taken a little while ago, but we're pretty proud of the progress up here. So another deal that engineers are very difficult with: teamwork and integrity. There is no I in the word team. Engineers tend to be very, very narrow-minded, and all these pictures right here illustrate the value of teamwork. Obviously, everyone has a job, and everyone's job is as important as the next guy's. It's pretty much like a assembly line. You can't really put on the fender if you don't build the frame correctly. So everyone has to do their job in order for the process to work correctly, and these guys have been tremendous. Pictured on the left here is the Midlands crew. This valve right here actually was leaking horribly, so we had to cut out some chunks of Highway 20, and they had to patch this up under around 60 psi of live pressure. So we definitely had some eyes watching us, but thankfully we got her done, and as I said before, this is done for the year. So Pictured in the middle here is Paulson, and this is actually the parking area of our main street. This is a vibrating screed right here, and I mean, you can see all these guys. Everyone has a job, and everyone is expected to complete their job so they keep moving along, and the truck isn't sitting there wasting time, or you get a dry joint in which the concrete cracks because you have allowed it to set for too long and the sun has dried it. So on the right here, I got this picture. This is our second block, and I couldn't be more proud of these guys. They were absolutely fantastic to work with, and still are. But this was before our Crazy Day celebration, and all in all, I'm really happy to be a DOT inspector, and hopefully we can become an engineer soon. So, how to become an engineer? So here's a diagram, kind of numbered 1 to number 5. The first step in this parentheses are kind of rough approximations of the time lengths that you're going to need for it. The first step, though, is a bachelor's degree within civil engineering, and I imagine most of us attending this class are going into some form of engineering. So everyone's familiar with the 4 years or less, if you plan to take more credits per semester, that you need to obtain a bachelor's degree in whatever field. But the second field is a civil engineering or mechanical engineering or whatever you guys are going in, is an engineering internship. And that takes around 6 months or a semester. Most of the time colleges integrate that into their curriculum. So the next step, number 3, is actually a decision. So it's, as much time as you want it to take, or as least time as you want it to take. That's the specialization into a field such as land development, public or private designing. And I would say that's definitely the hard part for people, is specialization, because they don't know what to go in and they're kind of scared to actually define into an area. So number 4 is the certification exams, engineering training, and the fundamentals of engineering. So those take around 6 months. Obviously, if you hit it brutally and get these tests done, it could probably be a month or so that you could get them done. So the last step is choosing where you would like to start your career path, and seeing where you want to go from there. I mean, you can obtain an engineering degree, and it's very, very rare that you will not obtain a great job from it. So, civil engineering here. All in all, civil engineering provides a great place to build your career. People met within this degree field to create lifelong friendships, and I hope to follow this great program for the Department of Transportation. Pictured above is actually a Merriman South job that I did last year with my crew up here. And this actually is kind of important to me and iconic for the state, because this is on Highway 61. It's north of Hyannis, if any of you have drove up there, and it's a really smooth highway. We got a smoothness award for it, and it was a tremendous crew to work for and with. So my father actually supervised the Warner asphalt plant and was the superintendent for the project. So it was pretty nice to receive a smoothness award, and it was actually the first time within the state that a father and a son received a smoothness award, obviously the father being the Warner superintendent and the son being the NDOT inspector. So that was definitely a first that I was glad to create. So thank you. I see I'm at around 14 minutes, so I'll keep it very quick. I hope I explained some stuff thoroughly, and if you guys have any questions, definitely reach out and I will explain them. But this last picture here is looking north. I'm standing right between Comfort Inn and the old Ward's Plumbing and Heating building. And these Paulson trucks are lined up to pour this mainline stretch right here. So all in all, I had a great time with this presentation, and I hope everyone learned a bunch. So thank you very much for your time, and have a good day.